Oh my god.
Welcome back to Car Show 1, the place where car history comes alive. On this channel, we explore the machines that shaped generations, the vehicles that made people fall in love with driving, and the legends that continue to inspire enthusiasts today. If you're a fan of classic cars, muscle cars, or rare gems that left their mark on the automotive world, you're in the right place. And today, we're going back to Japan in the 1970s, to a car that may not have been the flashiest or the most powerful, but it played a huge role in making Japanese cars a household name across the globe. This is the 1970 Datsun 120Y, also known as the Nissan Sunny B210 in some markets, a small car with a big story. The late 1960s and early 1970s were a turning point in the global car industry. Japan was rising as a new automotive powerhouse, with brands like Toyota, Honda, and Nissan pushing into international markets. At the time, American cars were big and powerful, but they were also thirsty for fuel. European cars were refined but often expensive. Japanese manufacturers saw an opportunity: build small, affordable, reliable cars that offered great fuel economy and modern features. That's exactly what Datsun, the export name for Nissan, did with the 120Y. The Datsun 120Y came at just the right time. In 1970, the world was heading toward the oil crisis that would hit just a few years later. People were starting to look for cars that didn't guzzle fuel, and the 120Y fit perfectly into that need. It was part of the Sunny family, a line of compact cars designed to bring motoring to the masses. With its lightweight design, small displacement engine, and practical interior, the 120Y was aimed directly at everyday drivers, families, and young buyers who wanted affordable mobility without sacrificing reliability. Let's talk about design. The 1970 Datsun 120Y had a very simple but charming look. It wasn't flashy like American muscle cars or sleek like European sports cars, but it had an honest and practical appeal. The front end carried a modest grille with round headlights, giving it a friendly, approachable face. The lines of the body were clean, straightforward, and slightly boxy, which was common for economy cars of that era. It was available in sedan, coupe, and wagon body styles, offering something for different kinds of buyers. The coupe had a bit more sportiness in its profile, while the sedan and wagon emphasized practicality. Inside, the Datsun 120Y was just as straightforward. It wasn't a luxury car, but it was well thought out. The dashboard was simple, with large, clear gauges, easy-to-reach controls, and durable materials designed to withstand daily use. The seats were basic but comfortable enough for city driving and short trips. One of the things buyers loved was how much space Datsun managed to fit into a compact body. It could seat 4 adults comfortably, and the trunk offered decent cargo space for its size. This made it a perfect family car in markets where small cars were gaining popularity. Under the hood, the 1970 Datsun 120Y featured a small 4-cylinder engine, typically a 1.2-liter A12 engine. It produced around 69 horsepower, which by today's standards sounds tiny, but for the time and for the car's lightweight body, it was enough. The car wasn't about speed, it was about efficiency, affordability, and dependability. The engine was mated to a 4-speed manual transmission, and in some markets, a 3-speed automatic was offered. What made this engine special was not power but reliability. The A-series engines from Nissan were known for being nearly indestructible. With regular maintenance, they could run for hundreds of thousands of miles without major issues, and that built Datsun's reputation worldwide. Driving the 120Y was simple, easy, and light. The steering was manual but responsive enough for city driving. The suspension was basic, with McPherson struts at the front and leaf springs at the rear, which gave it a decent ride for an economy car. It wasn't sporty, but it was nimble enough for tight streets and urban environments. The lightweight build and small engine meant it could deliver excellent fuel economy, something that became a huge selling point during the fuel crises of the 1970s. One of the key reasons the Datsun 120Y became so important was its role in global markets. In the United States, where it was sold as the Datsun B210, it quickly became one of the best-selling import cars. Buyers were drawn to its low price, reliability, and incredible fuel efficiency compared to the large American cars of the time. In Europe, it competed successfully against small cars like the Ford Escort and Volkswagen Beetle. In Australia, it became a common sight on the roads, earning a reputation for toughness and dependability. In developing countries, it was seen as a car that was affordable to buy and cheap to run, making it accessible to a wide range of people. The 120Y also became a cultural icon in its own way. While it wasn't as glamorous as sports cars or as rugged as SUVs, it represented practicality and the democratization of car ownership. It was the kind of car that millions of families relied on for daily life. It was also popular with students and young drivers because it was inexpensive and easy to maintain. In fact, in many countries, the Datsun 120Y was the first car for an entire generation of drivers. Collectors today might not see the 120Y as a high-value classic, but its importance cannot be underestimated. Cars like the 120Y paved the way for Japanese manufacturers to dominate global markets. It showed the world that Japan could build cars that were affordable, reliable, and desirable. Without models like the 120Y, it's hard to imagine how Datsun, and later Nissan, would have become the global powerhouse it is today. And here's something enthusiasts love. Because the 120Y was so simple mechanically, it became a favorite among DIY mechanics and tuners. The engine was easy to work on, parts were cheap and widely available, and the car's lightweight design made it fun to modify. Some enthusiasts swapped in bigger engines, lowered the suspension, or added sporty touches to turn the humble economy car into a spirited little machine. While the factory 120Y wasn't a performance car, it became the foundation for creativity and personal expression in the car community. Looking back at the 1970 Datsun 120Y, it's clear that it wasn't just another small car. It was a turning point for Datsun and for the Japanese auto industry as a whole. It proved that cars didn't need to be big, expensive, or powerful to be successful. They just needed to be smartly designed, efficient, reliable, and affordable. That's why, decades later, people still remember the 120Y with a mix of nostalgia and respect. It was the car that got families to work, kids to school, and young people into their first taste of independence on the road. Even today, surviving examples of the 120Y are celebrated at classic car shows, especially among fans of Japanese classics. While they may not fetch the same prices as muscle cars or sports cars, they attract admiration because they represent a simpler time in motoring and a key chapter in automotive history. Restored examples show off the car's clean design and remind us of just how important it was in shaping the direction of the car industry. So, the 1970 Datsun 120Y might not be the loudest, the fastest, or the flashiest car we've covered here on Car Show 1, but it is without a doubt one of the most significant. It represents the rise of Japanese engineering, the shift toward fuel efficiency, and the car that brought millions of people into the world of driving. Sometimes, the greatest cars aren't the ones that sit in museums or on posters, but the ones that touch the lives of everyday people. The Datsun 120Y was exactly that kind of car. Thank you for joining us on this journey through history here on Car Show 1. If you enjoyed learning about the 1970 Datsun 120Y and want to see more stories about classic legends and modern marvels, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell icon so you never miss out on the next episode. Until then, keep the passion for cars alive, because every car has a story worth telling.